Hey guys, this is a short video on how to track sales activity using Podio. I'm here in Podio under the ICQS ICX Sales CRM. If you don't have access to this space, it's actually open to anyone who's part of the ICX United States network. And how you can join is just to go down to Open Workspaces, and it'll show up like any of these, and you just click the green button. Of course, if you have a lot of new members, you can always just send their emails to myself, and I can do it manually as well. Once you get in here, I want to showcase my preferred method of basically tracking sales activity, especially for the LCs I coach. Usually I use the Meetings app because it includes company info in the same place, so it's usually the easiest to track with. So right here, I'll go up to the Meetings app, and I'll show you the view I use, because usually when you pop it up, you'll see this huge list of meetings from all across the country, which can be a little overwhelming, and it's not going to really help you. This is why it's important to use the filter tool. So the filter tool allows you to pick the criteria that best match the information you need to see. Usually that means you probably want to pick your LC just because you only care about what your LC is doing, right? But you have the option of picking multiples. So for instance, for the regional chairs, you can always click all the LCs in your region, put it together to see the sales activity for them. So I just picked a random LC here. And then as well, I'm going to also set a criteria of date and time. So date and time is the time that the meeting is held. There's also at the top, as you'll see, a created on time, and that's going to be the date the meeting was created on Podio, which I don't think is as useful as when it was held. So usually I go to present and do current year, so I can see the last 4 or 5 months. Otherwise, I think looking back the past 3 months isn't too bad, and you can do that with a custom date. So you can see here the applied filters I have is an LC and the current year and the date and time. If you ever feel like you're not getting the data you want in your view, check the applied filters to see maybe there's an extra filter there that you don't want to. And you can just remove it by clicking that. So once we have the filters in place, now you have a list of all the meetings that have been held in the calendar year 2013 by ICX Madison. This is interesting, but it still doesn't give us clearly what we need. So I'm going to change the layout. I like to use the card layout for tracking, and I think you'll see why once I set it up. It provides an easy way to sort of see what's going on. So I switch to that layout. You'll see each meeting becomes a little card, and you can organize it a little bit more. So for instance, here you'll see that I organized it by every industry. So if you're interested in seeing if, for instance, your LZ happens to have more success in one industry versus another, this is a very simple way to do this so that you can see how many meetings with what type of companies are you having. So this is really, there's a lot of capabilities I find with the card app, the card layout, excuse me, and I'll show the way I like to track preferably. So right here, once you switch the layout, right next to it is the options. So my main preference usually is to have the columns actually based on the meeting type. So showing if it's an initial or a follow-up meeting or something else. And just make sure you always click this little button so you see all the meetings that are actually being held. And it's nice because you can clearly visualize and compare what the number of meetings that are happening in various categories. So as you can see, there's primarily initial meetings happening with some follow-up here. But if you want to track your sales team, I would also group the rows based on the main account responsible. So the main account responsible should be one person who is in charge of this company. And that's when you use that properly, what it means is I can now come into Podio and see every single company or account that a person has. And you see their names right at the top, and you see how many various accounts they have, which is a good way to track maybe who's your most active person on the team, or what's going on. And then it's very easy to see what's happening because you just click on the side, and on the right it'll pop up with company info, and you can look and you can see, well, are things happening that you hoped for? What happened in the meeting? Why aren't there more follow-up meetings? You can check the initial meetings and see which ones are recent ones that are still not happening, and adjust the date and time filter to really see, for instance, what initial meetings happened last week, which means what follow-up needs to happen this week, or what follow-up meetings happened in the past month. These are the companies you might be closing with soon. So these are the kind of things that you can do in this view. And this is generally the view that I use when I coach my LCs to get a good perspective. So I hope this helps, and I hope you can use this to more effectively manage your team and ensure that. I think one of the best benefits of this is when it's very easy to see how everything is done in your sales team using Podio, people are more likely to use it. And if you showcase this at the beginning of your weekly meetings, for instance, they'll understand the importance of putting stuff on Podio quickly, and as well putting tons of notes at the bottom, because now you can see you can easily track it all from one place. In 5 minutes you can get an update on all the meetings that happened in the past week if they get on Podio immediately after the meeting, and notes are put right afterwards. Makes it a lot easier of a job for you to track as a team leader, a VP, or an LCP. And I do hope that you take some time as well to explore the various filters and options that you can use in this view to get more perspectives about how your sales team is doing. Hope it helps. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to email me about it. Thanks.